This is the blog that I want to talk about. Okay. Let me open this up a bit. I'm gonna zoom in just a tad. Yeah, I have it. Alright, so Diablo 4 open beta retrospective transforming feedback into change. They just posted this today, April 14th, and they go on to say on the weekends of March 17th and 24th, Sanctuary let out a cry for help, a cry that would be answered by hordes of wanderers who rode in on Nameless Horse and loosened Lilith's grasp on Sanctuary. During the early access and open beta weekends, these players sent countless demons back to the burning hells, obtained powerful gear, and saw Lilith's grand plot begin to unfold before them. Many of these players also took the time to leave valuable feedback on our official D4 forums and platforms such as Reddit and Discord. After the early access and open beta weekends concluded, the development team read through all of your feedback and reviewed gameplay data. Using this information, we have made a variety of fixes and updates to various systems in D4, all of which will be present in the version of the game that launches on June 6th. None of this would be possible without the community's dedication and love for the Diablo universe, for which we say thank you. You're welcome. We did spend a lot of time going over that stuff and putting lots of time into the numbers on the beta were amazing. Tons and tons of time we put in as a community. Let's see, they're changing dungeon layouts. One of the most common pieces of feedback we received is that players felt they were doing a lot of backtracking within certain dungeons. We have optimized multiple dungeons across all zones to minimize the need for backtracking. Here's a list of dungeons specifically in the Fractured Peak zone which received layout updates. Obviously, it'll be in the Fractured Peak zone because that's where the beta took place. I'm assuming that if the other zones that will experience during launch need tweaks, they'll probably do it in the future seasons and over the time after launch. Anyway, these are the main dungeons that they are tweaking: Caldera Gate, Defiled Catacombs, Derelict Lodge, Forbidden City, Hoarfrost Demise, Immortal Emanation, Cor Dragon Barracks, Mallwood, and the Rime Scar Caverns. The developers note, our primary goal with the layout changes was to reduce certain kinds of backtracking, which detract from a player's experience. An example of this change is that players previously needed to enter side rooms to interact with structure objectives, causing them to retread the same path. Now many of our structure objectives have been repositioned along the main dungeon pathways, making them easier for players to reach and allowing them to readily explore the dungeon after defeating the structure. So basically, I read that as linear. Like, we're going to just go down a straight path, or like, we're going to follow the path and everything's going to be along that path. I think that's a good change because Diablo players like to go fast. We want to go in. We don't want to, it is tedious to go back and forth and back and forth. Like the same thing when you play MMOs and you're doing fetch quests. Let me get that right. Fetch quests. When you're going back and forth, it's like, go all the way across the continent and get, 5 acorn from that magical tree. And then you get the 5 acorn. It's like, oh yeah, you got to go all the way to the farm on the southern hemisphere, and then you got to travel all the way across the map to bring those fucking acorns. And he's like, oh, you brought me the acorns, but where's my bucket of water? You left that at the farm all the way back over there. So I hate those types of quests. Fetch quest. Lou, what's up? Just going over some of the changes that they made after the beta for the Diablo 4 update. I'm going to continue reading through this, and then if you want, hop into Discord and bullshit some, if you're up for that. So, let's continue on. Dungeon events. The chance for an event to spawn inside of a dungeon has increased from 10% to 60%. Listen, more events, the better, because events always have good loot to drop, yada yada. Dungeon gameplay. To reduce the need to backtrack, small numbers of straggling monsters will seek out the players to help complete the Kill All Monsters objective. Oh, okay. So basically, on those missions where you have to kill all the monsters in a dungeon, they're basically you're going to be a beacon, and all the monsters in the dungeon will find their way to you. So you don't really have to search every nook and cranny of the dungeon. I mean, that sounds like it makes a lot of sense, because I'm pretty sure if there were demons from hell that were invading the earth, they wouldn't be hiding in little cellars waiting for you to find them. They'd probably be hunting everyone down. I'm pretty sure of that anyway. When Animus is gathered, the player in nearby alleys will gain 10 resource, reduce all active cooldown, whatever. That's not a big deal. I mean, that's a buff. Buffs are buffs, but it's not like a major. Depositing Animus channel time was reduced from 3 to 0. That's good. The time to rescue was reduced from 3 to 1.5. All rescue objectives now drop a health potion upon completion. While carrying the ancient statue, bloodstone mechanical box, or stone carving, you will receive a momentum bonus granting 25% movement speed. Alright, so they're just making it so that you could get through that shit faster, because everyone was complaining. Get to the class changes, baby. Yeah, I mean, of course. Can we ask questions in here? Of course. It's an open forum. Look at that. It looks like it says asses on the screen because I have, my little light is blocking that. But it actually says classes. So, interesting enough. Do you know why they say that storks drop children off at... You know why that whole wives' tale of that storks deliver babies, that they drop them off at the homes? You know how that started? I'll wait for the answer. If you know yes or no, why storks were known to drop babies off. So basically, storks, what they do is they take the baby from their nest that is like the weakest link, the one that they don't think will survive, or that may like hinder the rest of the baby's like development, and they throw them out of the nest. They literally will drop the baby out of the nest. They just get rid of it. So it's pretty crazy when I found that out. So that's why it's known that storks drop babies off. It's just that they were literally just getting rid of they were throwing their own kids out of the nest. If there was anything like the runt of the litter, always got thrown out to fend for themselves, and probably just pretty fucked up. Okay, general effects like stun and freeze can be applied to elite monsters twice as long before they become unstoppable. I mean, this stuff is like not really exciting. This is the stuff that's exciting. Barbarians. So everybody was bitching during the beta about barbarians, and I gotta be honest, they were nowhere near as bad as people were making them out to be. I had no issues with it. But now, because of the complaining, they're getting buffed to all hell. I think that, in my opinion, I think the Barbarian at endgame is going to be so strong that they're going to have to nerf it in the mid-season. So anyway, Barbarian is getting a flat 10% passive damage reduction, which is just added to the Barbarian class. Some skill tree passives had their damage reduction effects reduced to compensate. Okay. So basically, he's just getting a flat all-around reduction, but then the skills in the skill tree will be reduced. Okay. Whirlwind now deals more damage but consumes more fury. The double swing skill enhancement refunds its full fury cost when used on stunned or knocked down enemies. Okay. Druid. Companion skills will now deal heavily increased damage. All ultimate skills have had their cooldowns reduced, which is great. Usability improvements have been made to Maul and Pulverize. Using non-shape-shifting skill will transform a druid back into their human form. Whatever. The druid will be the last class I probably level up. I'm going to probably level everything else up first. Necromancer. Here's summon minions will die more often, requiring players to utilize corpses more often. That's kind of a nerf. Obviously, that means they get the minions are gonna be squishy. But the bonuses from the Book of the Dead have been increased, so that's a buff. Corpse explosion. Damage has been reduced. Nerf. The brightness of the skeletal warriors and mages has been reduced. People were complaining that the look was too fake. The rogue upgrades for subterfuge have been increased, so that's good. Multiple passive skills have had their bonuses increased. That's good. Imbuement skills have had their cooldowns increased. So here's the thing. I think it was fine before, but it never felt like it was on cooldown because it came back really quick. But now this gives you the incentive for rogue players to use Poison Trap, because Poison Trap, when it's triggered, has a chance to instantly cool down your imbuement skills. So there you go. Gives you a reason to use that actual passive. Sorcerer. Do you? You know? Yes, storks bring barbarian babies, but they're too big. The barbarian babies just rip the heads off the storks, just so you know. They eat them. Sorcerer, charged bolts damage was increased, and the mana cost to cast has decreased. Nobody was using charged bolts during beta. That skill no one was using, so maybe this will make it more viable. Now, here's the nerf a lot of people are going to be upset about. Decreased the damage of Chain Lightning and reduced its effectiveness against bosses. That was the only lightning skill everyone was using because it was way strong, really good. So, they said they decreased it, but we don't know how much, so we'll see. Decreased the cooldown for Incinerate skill and enchantment bonus. It was way too long and it was shit, because Incinerate skill, when you put it in the enchantment slot, every 20 seconds, it spawned a random fucking serpent head to breathe fire, like a dragon head out of the ground to breathe fire. But you had no control over where it was being placed. Sometimes it was off screen, and once every 20 seconds made it feel like garbage. It was way too long. So I'm curious to see how much the cooldown has been decreased. Firewalls will now spawn underneath enemies more frequently when using its enchantment bonus. Always a good thing. This I'm excited about. Increase the lucky hit chance for the meteor skills enchantment bonus. Again, by how much? Before it was only 3%. But when you had a whole screen burning from fire, it was going off a good amount. But if they increase from 3 to like, bro, if it's like, it's probably going to be like 5%. But if it's 10%, ooh, that's going to be nice. I don't know how much that's going to be though. Then it did doing UI changes. The encounter changes. This is a good change. The sellers, right? Because every time I was traveling in the open world, and I'd see a seller, I would go in, but then there was like, it felt like, all right, it was cool. They were quick, but there was never a reward. So I just stopped. I just started ignoring them. So now you get a higher chance that an event is going to occur inside of the sellers. And it said they will consistently reward a chest upon completion. That is huge, because now when I'm traveling in the open world, I'm going to always want to pop into those sellers, because, you know, hey, chest is a chest. You know what I'm saying? In general, quality of life stuff, yeah. I don't think this is a good change. The reset dungeon button has been disabled. I know they changed it probably because people were just farming one dungeon over and over and over and over, and they made it really easy. But I'm sure people will find a workaround, and this is just making it feel a little slower to get to the same point. April 20th, they're going to be doing a live stream with Riker. I'll be watching it. I'll be all up to date on that. I'm going to post the link into the chat. For those of you that want, you can go to the Blizzard page and you'll see the dev post if you want to read it in full, because I just kind of skimmed through a lot of it. But that's that for the Blizzard post on Diablo 4, that update. Obviously, I'm super excited. I'm going through withdrawals since I played the beta. I was playing a little bit of D3 earlier today, but it's just not scratching that itch. You know, play a little bit of D2, but D2 just takes a little too long to get to where I want to be. All right.